We're here at the nation's capital today to testify on cannabidiol. Today at the Senate hearing, I hope to share with them Mallory's story and hopefully they can see that there is something in this plant. And I don't know the details of it, and I don't think the science is there yet where we have all the answers, but something needs to be done, and soon, for people with intractable epilepsy. So today at the meeting, I hope to share Mallory's story and then tell them, if you could, take this away from Schedule 1. It is not like heroin, it is not like LSD. There's something there that is truly medicinal. It might be one molecule in that plant, I don't know. I don't have 10, 20 years to watch my daughter seize to wait for the science. Something needs to move faster.
Today's hearing addresses a timely and important topic. Thousands of children throughout our country suffer from rare, extreme types of intractable epilepsy. Some of these children experience hundreds of seizures a week that prevent them from living anything close to a normal life. Parents fear that the next seizure may be their child's last. CBD is a compound derived from a marijuana plant that can be administered in the form of oil. It's not smoked and it can't be used to get high. Even though all the leading medical organizations reject the idea of smoked marijuana as medicine, many have called for further research into the potential medical use of CBD. I look forward to discussing with the witnesses the ways in which we can work together to facilitate research on CBD that can result in safe, effective, FDA-approved medicines to help our children who suffer from these rare conditions. Senator Feinstein.
I've heard remarkable stories from parents in California and across the country, like Tom Minahan, who you will hear later today, that cannabidiol has reduced seizures in children with intractable epilepsy and helped improve their quality of life. And I think we all applaud that and want to see that continued. In my view, with additional research, we can better understand if the apparent immediate benefits of cannabidiol outweigh any potential long-term harms. We've got to do more to ensure that parents have access to safe, effective medicines for their children. And that starts with better scientific and medical research. So I hope today's hearing, rather than bring about emotion, will really bring about fact and science and the best path we can follow. I think every member of the Senate would want cannabidiol, assuming it meets the research criteria, to be available on the market in a precise and scientifically regulated manner. So I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and look forward to the hearing.
Yeah. You now, Dr. Minahan.
Hi, thank you. I'm Dr. Tom Minahan. I'm an emergency room physician at one of the busiest ERs in California. It's a trauma center. I see drugs every shift, guaranteed. I run a teaching program, and we look at literature a lot. But I'm not here as a doctor. I'm here as a dad. Briefly, my daughter, Mallory. We have 4 kids, my wife and I. Mallory is 12. When she was 14, she had her first seizure. I've learned a lot about epilepsy over the last 10 years. I'm not an expert, but I've learned, sadly, too much. In 10 years, we've tried a dozen medications, and I've researched each of them. Nothing seemed to work. So a year and a half ago, she was having 30 to 40 a month, 12 in a night, and it was routine to put a diaper on her at night. How do you tell your 11-year-old, just put a diaper on? She says, why isn't anybody else wearing a diaper to bed? What do you do? What would you do? It's kind of a tough situation. Our expert, world expert, because I have access to the world docs, said, let's try a medication called Felbutol, FDA approved. It has a black box for aplastic anemia. If you get this side effect, you have a 1 in 4 chance of dying. It's FDA approved. I wasn't going to go there. I would retry all the dozen drugs we had tried. And someone had said cannabis, but you got to know who I am. I'm a father of 4. We go to church. I give my 10%. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I have never used marijuana in any form whatsoever. Would it really be the right thing to do? It's Schedule 1. It's illegal. But we tried it. And within 36 hours, this kid, who was kind of a zombie, her seizures went down by 90%. And we put her back in school for the first time in 3 years. Hasn't been perfect. I've dealt with some of the meds that show up at our house with labels that supposedly say one thing or another. And I do question the THC. But what did the last 1,000 seizures do to her brain? That's something I don't know. And nor do I have, this was a year and a half when we started. I didn't have time to wait. I didn't have till tomorrow for the research. I realize it's illegal. I have a DEA license. It's kind of risky. And I would have loved to have brought her here today to show you, but Dad doesn't want to show off his daughter. But that's illegal. It's like taking heroin on the plane. Research needs to be done, please. I got my education, sadly. I'm a physician. Remember, I tell my docs, look at the research. I got it from social media. That's pathetic. It's really pathetic. But that's the best we had going. And I'm going to continue to keep doing it, as long as I don't get in trouble. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
I want to have clarification, and I would like you to add this to your letter to Senator Feinstein. What are these barriers specifically? Because we don't know enough to figure out how do we reduce the barriers. And the reason why many of us believe moving into Schedule II will reduce the barriers, because other serious drugs are within Schedule II and have very good ability to restrict, but it does open up access to research. Because the other thing is if we just waive for one strain, the last testimony you said that there was many strains. There was like, I don't know, how many did you say? There was
So there are 80 plus cannabinoids, plus 300 other compounds in marijuana.
Right, so if we're only going to waive it for one, to do the research on one, that seems absurd. Why aren't we doing the research on all of it? Why aren't we incentivizing scientists and doctors to do the research on all of it? Because I hear from patients not just who have seizures, I hear from patients who have PTSD. Our veterans are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they have seen very positive results with various use. We've seen people with MS. We have patients with glaucoma. We have patients with cancer. And so my question is, why are we not allowing research on every aspect of this plant so we can cure diseases, solve problems, just as we did with very, very harsh chemicals and products like heroin? We've done research. We've made cocaine Schedule II so more research can be done. We have many opioid derivatives now that are very good pain relief. I don't know why we don't treat it like opiates and do the proper research. I'm also concerned that we have only one drug company who wants to do this right now because it doesn't make money. If it's a Schedule I drug and it's illegal and dads are worried, I don't want to break the law, but I want to save my child, it's absurd that we are creating impediments to basic research. We do this with other serious drugs. I don't know why we're not doing it with this one.
Clearly, Schedule II is easier to access. Clearly, you can do research on it. Clearly, you have drug companies, as Senator Gillibrand just said.
It's a small difference.
Well, then why are you resisting that difference then?
Because we
Because
should spend our time doing things that are going to help families now and help researchers now, which are the things that I mentioned about multiple
So you're
sites.
saying to me, sir, stop.
And it's a red herring by the
Sir,
legalization
excuse me,
movement.
sir, excuse
Who
me.
wrote the CARES
Sir,
Act?
excuse me. Clearly, it's optics that you're concerned with. Clearly, this makes a difference, and you're saying this, and you could put your rest of your answers in writing, but clearly, the downside of this, the danger of this, is not that families will be hurt. You're just saying that they will not be helped enough. And so we have not just CBD, as you just admitted, it's an entire marijuana plant that has a lot of other aspects that could potentially be helpful. That right now we have a choke point on the source, and the researchers unable to get it. And a schedule change may not have the grand difference that people want, but it has a difference in the ability for research to being done.
And it's awesome to see senators who you think would have no interest in this at all say, you got to do this faster. Telling government employees from government institutions to say, you got to do it faster. This was definitely worth the effort. To sit there and 4 senators that were in the room the whole time, 4 senators all seem passionate about moving this forward fast. I always got the impression the government just sits on things. This was a very educational experience for me to see 4 senators be so passionate about moving something along and not like wait until 5-10 years to say there's something there. Move along. What are the barriers? How many times I hear senators say to these people from the government institutions, what's the barrier to moving this along for research, for access? Wow.
I think this makes a difference. I think this will move things forward. It may not be tomorrow, but things are moving faster than I think they would have. And I'm very thankful to be able to play a part in that. I'm not happy that my daughter has intractable epilepsy, but I'm thankful that I'm actually able as a physician and a conservative dad that says there's something there, we need to move